everyone, it's Sharona from Para Waits, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Chi Season 3, Episode 8, The French Room. Keisha has found her freedom in last week's episode, and for this week, Keisha comes home and we really get to see that her journey is not over. It is really just beginning as it comes to her actually dealing or talking about the trauma that she experienced while she was being held captive for over 2 months, being abused and both physically, sexually, emotionally. But really, how do you pick up the pieces as a family as you're trying to come back together, as you're trying to, as we see this reoccurring theme of can't things just go back to normal? We really get to see the trauma and what that has done to Keisha, but we get to see what that has done to their family as a whole, how Kevin is responding, which he would have got his raggedy behind beat this episode if he was playing with me, okay? But also, too, as we see the strain that is put on Nina and Dre's marriage, I thought from a writing standpoint, they did a really fantastic job with this episode, talking about victim blaming, victim shaming, of telling your story, of how there are so many people that we don't know who are dealing with these same experiences. And sometimes you feel like you're just the only person who has been through this. But when we see through conversations that she has, but also too with her mother, we learn that there's so many other people in Keisha's life that has been through it. And we kind of see the difference of Nina, her mom, not talking about being taken advantage of, and someone like Jada who is able to tell her story to help Keisha realize that, you know, she wasn't the only one going through this. So I do want to give a kudos to the writing room. Kudos to Burgundy Baker for these past 2 episodes have been so fantastic. And even though they dragged out the Keisha storyline, I'm really happy that she was given her time to, you know, really showcase her talent, not in just 1 episode, but now 2 episodes as well. But let me stop with my whole review portion of it. I'll get a little bit more into it towards the end of this recap. But let me go ahead and recap the episode. And I'm going to get on y'all with y'all little conspiracy theories against Dre, talking about Dre set Keisha up to be kidnapped, child. So the beginning of the episode opens up. We see that Keisha returns from the hospital. Drake gonna sit up here and lie talking about if things are out of place, because you see Keisha moves the picture and puts it back to where it's supposed to be. She's like, if things was out of place, we were just trying to clean it up for you. I said, Drake, why you lying? Why you lying, Drake? Because you was trying to kick her out. You was trying to say she was dead. Just last episode. I'm just confused. I wish Nina would have cursed out right there, but I know Nina is just focused on her baby being back. But I was just like, Drake, stop it. Even Keisha can see through the lies, okay? So, her mom tries to hug Keisha, but she kind of jumps back at the thought of someone touching her. So we're getting these early displays in the episode of how she is still dealing with the trauma. She is still, even though she might not physically be there, she is still mentally there. And so she definitely is dealing with PTSD among a lot of other issues, as we see when she kind of goes and acts like she's going to sleep, but she puts the chair under the doorknob so no one can get in, closes the window, makes sure it's locked, grabs the scissors. We can tell she's not sleeping whatsoever. 3 days go by. She's still staring at the wall, holding the scissors, standing guard by her door just to make sure nothing happens again. And so when we see that she actually eventually emerges from her bedroom and she goes to take a shower, she takes off her robe, and then we see all of the bruises. And so we know that not only has he sexually abused her, but she's been physically abused as well. And so that's why she had all the welts and everything on her body, which was very hard to watch. And you can tell while she's looking in the mirror, just like we hear her talk about this later in the episode, that sometimes she stares in the mirror, she doesn't really realize that it's her, like who that person is staring back at her. And so we do find out that Keisha has been going through, like, you know, articles about her case, interviews that some of her so-called raggedy friends like Tammy did, but we do get confirmation that her killer was killed by her, that he's dead, as she's reading this article that they kind of zoom in on the computer. But we see that Dre invited her little raggedy friend Tammy to come visit her, which Nina was not excited about whatsoever, period, point blank, okay? She was very upset about it. When we can see the entire episode that they are still arguing, they're still fighting. There was never really any real resolution between what happened between Nina and Dre, when Nina basically told Dre to get your ass and get out. Nothing got resolved because Keisha was found later that day. So, you know, they kind of tabled everything until a later date. So she invites her over. And then as soon as she gets, she's like, hey, girl. She's like, I'm so happy you're not dead. I said, ma'am, that's while I'm happy happy that you happy she ain't dead. I was like, bruh, for real? And then when she telling her to like catch her up on things and stuff, because she was like, you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, no, you not. And I was like, girl, no, you not. Okay. And then she started doing her hair because she was like, you want me to do something to that hair? And she's like, nah. And I was like, yeah, let your friend do your hair, boo. Okay. We don't want you out here looking cray even in your house, boo boo. But she starts telling her like all this stuff that's happening. She's talking about how her baby, how she's broke up with her boyfriend because he wanted to have threesomes and she wanted a dude, and he talking about that's gay. And she was like, well, it wasn't gay when I was sitting up here pleasing women for your benefit. And I was like, well, you know what? She had a point there. I mean, if she's doing it for you, you have to reciprocate and do it for her. But I'm like, these people are in high school. My gosh, these kids are really getting it in these streets these days. So, we also see that, I did like how she said my ADHD. What did she say? Hold on. Tammy Show said something about her ADHD, and I couldn't take it when she said it. She said that, she said her ADHD is holding her test back. I said, ma'am, you can go get help for that. It's okay. Totally normal. A lot of people have it. Get your life, boo. But Keisha asked her, what have people been saying at school about the whole situation and what she went through? She talks about how like, oh, nothing. Then she was like, come on, girl, what they been saying? And she was like, well, some people thought that the dude kidnapped you because you was messing with him and you didn't want to talk to him no more, so he kidnapped your behind. Some people said it was a publicity stunt. Other people said like, you know, it's basically it could have been your daddy. They said it was her real daddy. I was like, what? Like the stuff that people say. But I think it does such a great job of showcasing how not only does the media choose sides or basically victim shames people based on their past or what they could have been doing, but how your friends, your family, people at school, like everyone does this. They come up with their own assumptions about why this happened to you, what actually happened to you, and whether or not they're going to have empathy for your situation and what you're going through. And so this makes Keisha immediately upset, as rightfully so. And then she brings up the fact that she was talking smack too on the interview as well. She was like, I didn't forget, Tammy. I read what you were saying about me in the streets as well. Then they end up getting into an argument, and then she leaves, and then Nina get mad at Drake talking about, see, this is why I told you don't just be inviting people over all willy-nilly trying to help and stuff, because now see what happened. And I was just like, well, Nina, while you have a point, I still feel like Dre is just trying to help, okay? So we find out that Keisha makes a comment like, I can't wait to leave Chicago, go to college. And so then they tell her that because she was missing, she actually lost her scholarship. They gave her scholarship to someone else, which I thought was so dirty. I said it was only 2 months. But it goes to continue this theme of how everyone they give up. The police gave up. The community gave up. The college gave up, like that they didn't think that she would be found. It just shows how so many people felt Keisha, that they gave up hope. And I just felt so bad for her, the fact that she lost her dream of actually leaving Chicago and going off to college and really having a fresh start and making a great future for herself. So I hope that gets rectified. I would have been on the news. I would have been on social media. I would have been like, go ahead and run me my scholarship money back, please and thank you. So we see that she still isn't sleeping. She's staring at the wall, just sitting in the bathroom, letting the water run. You can tell that she's withdrawn from what is actually happening. And so we see that Emmett comes over. And so essentially Emmett and Jada come over, and Jada's trying to check on her friend Dre, because she knows that she alludes to the fact that, hey, like, you was just calling me a couple of days ago talking about, can I come sleep on your couch? And now you're saying you guys are okay. We see the mix, and Nina says we're okay. Dre saying it's hard. We've been going through a hard time. Like, no one can get on the same page as to what is actually happening. And it's almost as if Dre is trying to live in the reality of the situation, while Nina is just trying to escape and just go to, like, I have my daughter back and it doesn't matter about anything else, of trying to make her talk about things, of trying to help her about anything. So yeah, Dre knew something was up, because as soon as Keisha started vacuuming, she was like, that girl ain't vacuumed a day in her life. Stop it. Something's wrong with her. But I do like how, he goes to check on Kevin first, and Kevin just too much. Kevin smoking weed now. He cursing, talking back to his mama. I'm just like, Kevin, what happened to you? I don't think Gemma will be okay with this type of behavior towards your parents. But after he checks on Kevin, He goes to talk, he knocks on Keisha's door, and then Dre and Nina look like that's not a good idea. And then she allows Emmett to hug her. She doesn't hug him back, but she at least allows Emmett to touch her because he's a familiar face, he's a friend, and then she lets him come in. And when Dre was like, this dude, that ain't what she said this, like, you know what? But I was feeling the same way. I said, of all the people. But I think it really speaks to the type of friendship that Keisha and Emmett had, especially what we seen at the beginning of the season, how far they come from, you know, when he was being raggedy and a hoe. It's okay, but Emmett's trying to do better, so I do appreciate that about Emmett. Even though y'all be trying to say that I be bashing men, y'all stop it. If you wrong, you're wrong. If you're a woman, you're wrong. I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. If you're a man, you're wrong. I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. Please stop with that. Don't do that, okay? I am equal opportunity. I am fair to both sides. Stop. Y'all know Emmett is a screw up, okay? But we're trying to pray that he gets better. So they end up talking, and then Keisha tells Emmett, when Emmett's like, you know, she was like, what you do? And he's like, nothing. Because he was like, me and Tiff good. She's like, nah, I know you lying. And then he tells her about Dom. And then he was like, tells her about his little raggedy plot to take away Sonny's and how they're going to take over. And she says she's proud of him. And I'm like, you should have been cursing him out, but I know you've been through a lot of things, so I'm not even going to get started on you, Keisha. But he's still raggedy and wrong for how he is doing Sonny. But when he was like, I'm going to let you take some food. She's like, I don't want no mystery seafood. I was like, that's the Keisha I know. I love the little back and forth with them. But this brings me to one of my issues with Emmett and how he tried to make the situation about him saying, I'm sorry, I wish I would have never cheated on you. We could have been together. Nothing else would have happened. And then she was like, this is not about you. And I said, thank you, Keisha, for recognizing that he was trying to make this situation about him. And it wasn't. And also, too, it goes back to there's nothing that anyone could have said, could have done. Like, if you would have did this instead of that to change the outcome, that this man was crazy and was going to kidnap her no matter what. Like, no one is there's nothing you did that caused this situation to happen, and there's nothing that you could have possibly done to prevent it. And at the end of the day, you don't need to go back into that mental space of it. And so she kind of tells him that she feels like nothing's going to be the same ever again. And she's trying to figure out, like, when does this end? Like, when do I stop feeling this way? Why do I still not feel safe and I know he's dead? Like, when is that going to change? And Emmett's kind of just like, it's not, you know, but we got to figure out how to get through it. But I do like what she said. I thank God that we're not together. I said, thank you, Keisha. I thank God, too, that y'all not together because you didn't want that in your life, okay? Because she was like, and you would have been sitting up here cheating on me. And I said, exactly. But he gets her to come out. She starts eating. Everyone can hear her laughing, that they feel like she's back to herself. Wrong way to think, but I'm sure it was very comforting for her mother to hear her laughing. So when everyone comes in, you know, they're kind of just like, you know, Kevin got a little attitude. I don't know what triggered it first, but I think the first thing was she asked him, like, what took y'all so long to find me? Actually, it was Papa who triggered it. So Papa, while he has his contact high because they raggedy behind smoking weed in the house with a vape pen, he feels disgusted by the tips that he has received. He thinks of the 30 pieces of silver that Judas was given to portray Jesus. And he gives Keisha the money back like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, this is the money that he gave me. I want to give it to you. And she was like, I do not want that money. And I was just like, Papa, like, I know you have, but this was not the time for that. So this starts a whole argument. So then Keisha's like, what took y'all so long to find me? Then Kevin starts victim shaming her. Like, maybe if you didn't dress the way that you did or act the way that you did, that you wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place. And I was like, wow, Kevin, like, are you serious right now? Because Kevin's upset. His mom won't let him leave the house. And so it was a Hail Mary that she even allowed Papa and Jake to come over, talking about God is good. I was just like, Papa, I love you so much. Even when he told him it's okay to let women take the lead. Thank you, Papa, for being a positive influence in their lives. But he go to his room like, forget this ish. I said, Kevin, we cursing at our mamas. That's what we're doing. We're cursing at our mothers now. You've been doing that a couple of times and I let it slide because you was going through a rough time. But baby, you can catch these hands. Even she said, I'm gonna slap the taste out of your mouth. And I said, you know what, Nina? I done heard you threaten him to slap the taste out of his mouth a couple of times this season. And I ain't seen it done yet, okay? Obviously, he didn't learn from a little behind whooping, sorry if my parents are watching, that he got last season. But I think we need to go back to that because obviously he got too much freedom at this point in time. So she goes and tries to make Kevin apologize, and he was like, I just want things to go back to how they were. Like, this is not healthy. And so Keisha just gets upset. She goes to her room, and this is when Jada actually goes to talk to her. And Jada confides in her that, you know, we see that Keisha's kind of taking out all the promiscuous clothing attire that she has and packing up all of her awards and stuff from track. And Jada kind of tells her that she was assaulted by a family member and that it takes a long time to go back to normal. But the reason why she chose to go into social work is because she never had anyone to talk to. Every family function she went to was a triggering moment for her. And so that's why she became a social worker, so she can have, when other people like Keisha were going through their problems, that they would have someone to talk to, which, you know, she never did. And so I love how people are sharing their experiences. We see that Nina and Dre kind of get into an argument, and she tells her, just because you're broken doesn't mean that Keisha has to be. Letting you know, because this is after she asks her, have you ever been violated? Dre says no, and then she says, well, you have no idea what we're going through. And so this is how we know something has happened to Nina, and I don't know if necessarily Nina is going to share that with Keisha. It seems like Dre obviously knows what has happened. I don't know if it involves their father. I don't know if it involves a family member. We don't know, but I'm interested to find out, because I'm sure they wouldn't bring something up without telling us. Okay, I'm just saying. But hopefully, you know, all of that gets taken care of. But in the step for her actually trying to heal, we get a knock at the door. I knew it was Ronnie Raggedy Behind by the way that Dre looked before she opened the door. So Keisha called Ronnie over, and then she basically talked to him and was just like, you know, because they both kind of went through this together. You know, he wasn't being kidnapped, but he was searching for her. He almost got killed by the guy. So they had this moment together, and really only he knows kind of what happened in those final moments before she was free. And so she basically asked him, they talk about kind of just everything that happened. She asked him, does she think he's really dead? And he says yes. And then basically she thanks him, but he tells her, thank you because you gave my life meaning. And I thought that was so sweet. And I think another portion of it that we forget is that Keisha killed him. Like, she's killed someone. Like, she has blood on her hands, right? And so that is something that her and Ronnie could connect with, because he's never fully recovered from the death of him murdering Coogie. And so I found it interesting how all of this comes back full circle, and how they both have impacted each other's lives in ways that they could have never imagined. But everybody didn't have to mean mug him when he was walking out. Kevin mean mugged him, Dre mean mugged him, Nina mean. I was like, well, dang, he the one who found Keisha. Ugh. I was like, y'all so just ungrateful. But we see that she started getting all her stuff. She take all her clothes and stuff to the bathtub. I was like, what she finna do? Oh, she gonna like wet it, and that's gonna be her letting all this stuff go. And then she tells her mom, like, maybe if I wasn't wearing this stuff, you know, this wouldn't happen to me. And I'm happy that her mom told her it don't matter if you were walking naked in the street. It doesn't give anybody the right to put their hands on you. And I think this is something that we see a lot in our society, especially with how we raise our young men and our young women. And we raise our young women to tell them, if you dress this way, nobody will touch you. No one will look at you inappropriately because you have your body covered. And really, we need to be teaching our young men and women to respect themselves, keep their hands to themselves, and no matter what happens, no one ever has the right to invade your privacy, touch you without permission or consent. So I'm happy that her mother said that to her, because it was a lot of victim shaming in this episode and victim blaming from Keisha, thinking that because of how she dressed or if she was promiscuous, that it had something to do with her being kidnapped. But then she set the whole thing on fire. Her mama just staring like, I said, you just gonna let her burn it? Like, you just gonna mess with the tub like that? Do you own this place? Like, okay, I guess I was just missing the symbolism was the only thing I was supposed to just catch in that moment. But we see that the episode ends up ending. We see that it's winter now. Time has passed, and they're going to the therapist. And so I find it interesting with Dre, because a lot of parts of this season, I didn't agree with Dre. I thought Dre was moving way too fast. 2 months in to be packing up the house, and I wasn't happy when Kevin snitched, but I was like, girl, sitting up here acting like we were just cleaning your room. But I thought she was moving too fast. And I do think at times that she's pushing Nina too soon. right? Like, it's only been a couple of days that Keisha's been back. Like, you don't need to rush her into talking about it. And you need to let people to deal with things and handle things at their own pace. But we know she needs therapy, but like, just give her a little bit of time, because it seems like only a week or no more than 2 weeks has transpired since she was found to where they are now. So I do think that Dre was doing too much. But I don't like that Nina always tends to bring up, these are my kids, not our kids. And if you guys are married, like, those are your children together. And so I don't necessarily know what's going to happen. Dre tried to talk to Nina. She said she didn't want to talk about what had happened prior to. But Jada tried to give her confidence that this is going to get better. But I don't know. I don't know if the therapy was for them together, then also too for Keisha. I'm not sure. I thought what was going to happen, since everybody was saying Keisha was pregnant, was when she was going to unzip her coat when she got downstairs, or zip her coat up, and then it was going to show she was pregnant. I thought that was the significance of showing a time jump, but I think it's just to show that it takes time for you to really heal, and it's not an overnight process. Sometimes you guys always ask me in the comment section, like, what the songs were. Josiah Bell sung the song Numb when Keisha's kind of going through her period of going to the bathroom, going back to her room. To symbolize how she feels numb and withdrawn, that even though this is over, in her head is still there every single time she closes her eyes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I think from a writing standpoint, it was very good. The performances were good. I love that they're giving Burgundy a lot to do, even though we kind of she was hidden from us the first couple of episodes of the season. But I'm happy with these past 2 episodes that she's been allowed to show her range as an actress. And I thought that there was a lot of great topics, from the healing process, dealing with trauma, having others tell their stories to let you know that you're not alone. Sorry. Whoo, got sneeze. Excuse me. But I thought that they did a really fantastic job. I was very pleased with this episode. I'm excited to see what is going to happen. There is only like 2 more episodes. Was this episode 8? I think it's only 2 more episodes. I don't know how they're going to wrap all these things that are happening up, or if a lot of stuff is just going to be left on a cliffhanger. But I'm interested to know in the comment section below, what did you guys think of this week's episode? But those are my thoughts on The Chi Season 3, Episode 8, The French Room. As always, my name is Sharana from Pay Your Winks, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon. And until I see you again, bye.